So Salesforce announced last week that they're going to be increasing their pricing come August 1st. I'm going to get into that in a minute. There's other parts of this announcement that are really important for Salesforce customers, and it's all tied to Agentforce and Slack. So there's some new additions for Agentforce, some new plans. This ties to the announcement they had back in May 15th. There's some announcements tied to Slack, which for you out there that are Slack customers or Salesforce customers, there's a lot of noise going on around that as well. Them protecting and keeping their data away from others. I'll get into that a little bit. But really, ultimately, it comes down to this. Salesforce is clearly finding as many ways as possible to get adoption, to get usage, consumption of their Agentforce offering, right? This, if you think about their earnings calls that they've had, you think about all the things that they've been saying publicly, it's all about use, it's all about adoption, it's all about becoming the AI leader. And obviously they want to find ways to grow their revenue as well. So the flywheel effect tied to consumption, but also increasing pricing is going to help with that as well. They have to overcome those single-digit growth numbers, the ones that they've predicted for their FY26, which I think was around 8 or 9%, I think is that they last forecasted. So let's get into increases. On average, about 6% increase, right, to their list pricing, sales, service, field service, and industry clouds. So a lot of you, that means buckle up, prepare. Hopefully you have renewal protections in place to overcome this. Unfortunately, many of you might not. So you got to get ahead of this, right? Now, I know, and I've already had conversations, going to be a lot of pushback on Salesforce. You should be able to handle this if done appropriately to overcome these increases. But again, tactics here, right? So if you increase the list price for Enterprise on Unlimited Editions, which is where they're focused, Enterprise and Unlimited Edition, they increase that by 6%. It's going to make the gap between it and these new Agentforce 1 editions, what used to be Unlimited Edition Plus. They close the gap. It forces customers, or at least tries to drive customers in that direction. I'll get to that in a minute. They like to talk about, it's the same rationale, all these new updates, all these new enhancements is leading to the reason why we need to increase 6%. Said this ad nauseum, whether it's them or others. Push back on this. Show your usage, show your granular usage. What new features, what new things have you added to justify the 6% that I'm using? Let's put them in those conversations. Now, I mentioned Agentforce. Back in May, they mentioned this was coming. They have a new add-on. It's $125 per user per month. You heard me correctly. That's an add-on, unlimited Agentforce usage, pre-built templates, Tableau Next is included in that, prompt builder, $125 per user per month list price. That is an add-on to your Unlimited Edition or your Enterprise Editions, which also after August 1st will go up 6%. So again, very expensive. Force yourselves to think about whether you really need that. Is Unlimited something you need? Do you want to go down the flex credit model instead, which they announced back in May? But again, if you go down any of these options, understand that you need to be really focused on definitions. What is an action? What is use for you specifically? They also announced the Agentforce 1 edition, which I mentioned a minute ago. That's replacing Enterprise 1 edition. $550 per user per month. Obviously, Enterprise Unlimited is getting closer to that with the increases. The key here thing is it's everything that you're going to get as part of that add-on, right? You're going to get everything under that. And then at the same time, you're going to be able to focus on other things. They say, like, you're going to get Slack Enterprise Plus, which is a new offering. You're going to get Data Cloud, 2.5 million data service credits. You're going to get 1 million flex credits, which if I do my math, based on the 515 announcement, that means if one action consumes 20 flex credits, that means you're going to get 50,000 actions. What happens if you use up all of those? They're going to bundle in other aspects of this. There's going to be swap rights. They mentioned that back in May. But the bottom line is this. They want everyone to go to that. Get your house in order. Not only bringing the costs down, but understanding, again, the definitions. What happens if you overcome those flex credits? What happens on the data cloud part? Do you really need Slack Enterprise Plus? Figure this out before you even start going down a path with them. And on the Slack side, Slack's going to be folded in. They announced that to these products. They also announced the fact that they're going to increase the Business Plus plan by 20%. So $12.50 moving to $15. Again, increase the list there, makes the list price tied to Enterprise Plus look that much closer. That's a tactic. Doesn't feel right. It's not driven by value, even though they say there is. They have enough issues with Slack, keeping data away from the competitors, away from accessing it. This is an area where they have to get used. They have to justify that purchase. So again, if you're a customer of Salesforce, get ahead of these things. I don't care when your renewal date is, they're going to be attacking you and your business to get usage, get adoption in term. Get your house in order, build the right story, get the right pricing, get the right definitions, force Salesforce to earn your business today, but protect you for tomorrow.